Hey guys, I'm Evan Thorpe. This is Michelle Martinelli, and this is For the Win's College Football Breakdown. And Michelle, bowl season is here.
Yes, let's talk about some bowl games. We're not going to look at the 2 college football playoff bowls. That'll come at a later date on this show. But let's look at some of the New Year's Six bowls that aren't in the playoff. Let's start with the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
Number 9 Washington versus number 6 Ohio State, a classic Big Ten Pac-12 matchup. What are you looking forward to about this game?
Well, this is Urban Meyer's last game as a coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and both of these teams kind of had disappointing stretches throughout the middle of the year, but both of them ended up winning 2 big games to get in this position. Ohio State beat Michigan and Northwestern, while Washington beat Washington State and Utah. And for both of these teams, it's kind of like we discussed, it's a two-faced kind of dilemma. You don't know what team's going to come out. Are you going to get the really good team or the really bad team? And hopefully we get the really good team in this bowl because
both of them,
because you have a high-scoring Washington team going up against Ohio State defense that, especially in the last 2 weeks, can really slow down a high-scoring team. And I think the biggest thing for me is, can the Big Ten continue its dominance against the Pac-12 in bowl games? Last year they went 4-0, and Ohio State played against USC, beat them in the Cotton Bowl. And lastly, this might be Dwayne Haskins Jr.'s last game as a Buckeye. We know that he's eligible for the draft, and a lot of mock draft has him going in the first round. So those are some things I'm looking forward to in the Rose Bowl. Tell us about the Sugar Bowl between Texas and Georgia.
So this is, the whole season, Longhorns fans have been wondering, is Texas back? Is Texas back? They've made significant strides since last year and look like a completely different team compared to a couple years ago. So I think this is going to be a good measuring stick for them against Georgia. Georgia is favored a little bit right now, but that can always change. Texas is going to have to rely on its offense to simply outscore Georgia quarterback Jake Fromm and running back DeAndre Swift. I see this as a very high-scoring game, though.
Yeah, and the next game we're going to talk about probably is going to have a lot of defense, with number 10 Florida going up against number 7 Michigan. And the last time we saw this Michigan team, they want the number 1 defense in the nation.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot to prove, especially Jim Harbaugh, who's 1-2 in bowl games, but he did beat Florida in his first bowl game with a 41-7 victory. So you're having a team who hasn't had success winning that last game of the year, going up against a team who pretty much didn't expect to be in this position. Right. So you could possibly have Michigan finally ending that season the right way, or Florida continuing their unexpected success and carry that over to next year. Do you think this game will have an impact on Jim Harbaugh's future at Michigan if they don't come out victorious?
No. At this point, I still don't think very much could have put Jim Harbaugh in the hot seat. I think he still has job security for a while, but it is not going to be a great look if you lose your last 2 games, one of them giving up 62 points to Ohio State, and then whatever a loss may be hypothetically to Florida in this bowl game. It's just not going to be a good look when you were once considered almost a playoff lock. If all you had to do was cruise to victory, and that suddenly changes. You end the season with 2 losses, 3 total. That's not great.
And back-to-back losses in bowl games is big. Last game we're going to talk about is the Fiesta Bowl, with LSU going up against reigning national champions, depending on who you ask, in UCF. And can this be another undefeated year for UCF?
I mean, it's really hard not to root for UCF at this point. They're riding a 25-game win streak right now that obviously extends to the beginning of last year. Winning this would make it 26. I think that would be something exceptional. No other team in college football can say that they would have back-to-back undefeated seasons. The small problem here is that the Knights are without star quarterback Mackenzie Milton, who made his way onto plenty of people's Heisman ballots this year. He suffered a very gruesome leg injury a few weeks ago, and now they've got a freshman in at quarterback. This is where UCF's defense is going to have to step up and contain Joe Burrow and LSU. And if they can do that, they could surge themselves into being the stars and the heroes of an unexpected turn in this program's season. But I think it'll be an interesting game, to say the least.
All right, next up, some other bowl games we're excited to watch. First up, the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium, Wisconsin versus Miami. The sunny Florida weather coming up to New York to face off against a Wisconsin team that's probably used to the blizzard conditions that will likely be on the field.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this game because both of these teams are underachievers, right? I think in a weaker ACC conference, we expected Miami to do a lot better, and certainly in a questionable Big Ten West division, we expected Wisconsin to do better as well. They're both 7-5, not living up to the preseason expectations that we had laid out for them, but Miami's defense is the star of the show. They're number 3 in the nation, while Wisconsin has one of the best running backs in the nation in Jonathan Taylor. And so I think that will make it an interesting matchup to see if they can contain him or if he'll just poke holes all over their ground defense. I just think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun, close game, even if it's not two of the best teams in the country playing each other.
No concern with Miami playing in the snow?
I mean, I don't know how much of an advantage that might be for Wisconsin. Maybe slightly. They have a little more experience playing in the snow than Miami does. But at the end of the day, if it's 15 degrees and blizzarding out, I don't know that anyone has an advantage there.
All right, another game is the Camping World Bowl with number 16 West Virginia going off against number 20 Syracuse. And if you're Syracuse, you had a surprise, successful season. And if you're West Virginia, you're going into a bowl game without your best player.
Right, and I think this is where we're going to see how much of West Virginia's offense was solely reliant on Will Grier and his arm. He is making the best decision for him, what he thought was necessary to protect himself, protect his future going into the NFL draft this season. But he was obviously their star player, a Heisman candidate for much of the year until we really got down into who started to stand out. So it'll just be interesting to see if West Virginia can still hold its own and Will Grier was just an extra very valuable piece on top of that, or if he was their entire offense and they might end up struggling.
All right, and last up we have some games, some bowl games where we're not really interested in the matchup, but more the locations. And the first one is the Bahamas Bowl, and I don't think we have to say much on why we're excited about this bowl.
No. Florida International, Toledo, these teams are already winners. Who doesn't want to go to the Bahamas in December?
All right, next up we have the Hawaii Bowl, and pretty much the same reason like we like the other bowl. Hawaii is a beautiful place to be at, especially in December, early January.
No, that's true. I think the only bummer here is that Hawaii is playing in the Hawaii Bowl. Perhaps those players would have liked to go somewhere else and play a bowl game.
Yeah.
But it's still Hawaii.
Yeah, good old Hawaii. Last up, we have probably the longest bowl in this year's bowl games, the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, which will feature Northwestern going up against Utah. But both of these teams will probably enjoy playing in different locations.
Yeah, and this is just add this one to the list of games you want to watch because you want to imagine yourself in that location. San Diego weather is beautiful. Chicago and Utah in the winter are cold, to say the least. So that's one of those where you can pretend you're watching on the beach too. All
right, so those are the bowl games we are most looking forward to. If you have a bowl game that we missed, just comment below and let us know. For Michelle Martinelli, I'm Evan Thorpe. Thank you guys for watching.